Good afternoon, South Coast. This is Ron Oliveira. What were you going to say? You wanted to start it? Good afternoon.
My guy says introduce the show, and then good afternoon, it's Ron Oliveira.
Here we go.
I love it.
Sorry, guys. It's episode 6 of Behind the Grind. This is Ron Oliveira with my co-host, Mr. Chris Resendes. We're still working some of the bugs out. We haven't been canceled yet, which is a good thing. We haven't pissed that many people off where we've gotten that many complaints where they've taken us off the air. Chris was a little rough on the last show. I don't know. Somebody had, feed in his cornflakes that morning. But we're here to tell everyone about some of the great people we have in our community, to maybe shorten the journey to success, some of the do's and don'ts of what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, to help you get to where you want to be with your dreams or with your business. Chris, who we got on here today?
Today's another great episode. I can tell you that right now. Not only is it somebody that I'm very involved with in the community. That's my VP on South Coast Business Alliance, my guy Dave Silveira. Dave's a salt of the earth type of individual. I think everyone here, once you hear him talk, will realize that he is what they call a real one. He's a guy that, minds his business, does his work, respects everybody, doesn't take no for an answer, works his ass off, and is a positive role model in the community. And I can attest to it. I mean, me and Dave have been doing stuff together now for several years in the Alliance. Prior to that, I've always seen him involved in the community, doing a lot of stuff, especially in the urban areas of the city, which is much respect to him, because he has alliances, and him and I discussed this the other day, throughout the South Coast. Whether it's in the projects or in the boardroom, Dave fits right in, which is a very, very special. Yeah, man, it's 100% compliment. It's 100% compliment. Dave can fit in where he gets in, and that's it. I'm not going to say much more. Y'all going to understand why I'm pretty happy to have Dave here. Once we get the show going, Dave's a builder, a designer, a musician, a father.
Oh, we're going that route.
A son, everything. And he's pretty damn good at it all, to be honest with you. So I'm really excited to and a developer. So he's also investment in properties. So we got somebody that's a chip off the old Rosso block coming on.
Oh yeah, me and him, we were grinding.
I know.
10 years ago, he helped steer the ship for a while there.
Yeah.
Helped on the straight and narrow,
which is awesome.
Where I wasn't trying to stay on the straight and narrow. He kind of helped bring me back in.
Great voice of reason.
Yeah, great voice of reason. And like I said, the guy that never says no, but will say no if he has to. You didn't know that.
He doesn't take no for an answer.
Doesn't take no for an answer, but will say no.
Oh, he says no plenty of times, trust me.
Without further ado, our friend, our brother, Mr. Dave Silveira of South Coast.
Thank you, guys.
Associates.
I appreciate it. I'm sure you're talking about me, not somebody else. That's a
another
great intro. Great intro.
It's Portuguese.
Thank
it's a pretty
you.
common Portuguese.
I got to live up to these words now.
And we are in Fall River, so there could be another
Fall
David
River.
Silveira.
We're in Fall River.
Yeah.
Did Christopher give you the format? Are you ready for this?
Oh yeah, I'm always ready. I love these type of conversations. This is what I live in this world, so I can't wait. Yeah.
30 questions,
Yeah.
30 minutes, even though me and Chris usually talk a lot.
Yep.
We're going to try to control ourselves to stay on track here, this show. 30 seconds, 30 questions, 30 minutes. We want
30 seconds. He's talking about how long.
Yeah, right. That's how long he's gonna take, right?
I try to keep my answers super short.
Yeah.
Don't be mean.
And before we get going, I just want to say it's an honor to be interviewed by you, Ronnie, because you've been a mentor to me since the early days. So I know we've helped each other out, but you've definitely helped me quite a bit, and definitely somebody I reach out to with questions still to this day. Myself, my son Christian, we definitely lean on you and your wisdom.
So imagine this, the guy the bad guy. Well, I said you were a mentor. 2 other guests said you were mentors. Now another guest said you're a mentor.
Yep.
Either we're all leading to the road to hell. Following you down it. Oh, you're doing a good job, buddy.
We're gonna start hearing that AC/DC song.
No, absolutely.
Soon in the background. But yeah, 30 minutes, 30 questions. Give us the honest answers. We want to help the young bucks.
The blood, the gore. I know you're looking for that, and that's.
He wants the blood,
gonna give it
sweat,
to you.
tears. We want to hear all about the behind the grind.
What's not so glamorous, right?
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear.
And we're
about you striking
still
a
grinding
football.
today.
Yeah, 100%.
To this day.
Can you start by telling us about your very first entrepreneurial endeavor, no matter how small? I
Said it correctly on tape
Entrepreneurial.
one.
All right,
Nice.
all right,
My
all right.
guy.
I got the
Yeah, the first one I can think of was NB Power Washing, New Bedford Power Washing. I made some flyers, and I had a power washer. I needed to make some extra money on the side, and I forget what I was doing at the time. I must have been like late teens. I just was offering, the services of power washing people's houses, whether it was houses, sidewalks, whatever I could do with that power washer.
Power washer? Because some of our other guests told their neighbors lawn mower.
I definitely did it. I definitely bought
It
it.
was purchased. It wasn't
Put on my Sears charge card, and
Sears
yeah,
charge card.
Yep, I'm that old. Yeah, I just dated myself. Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
For those that are listening, I just did the motion of the old credit card. What's that type of paper called?
Carbon
copy,
You just
right.
run that thing right over your card.
Yeah, and that was just like word of mouth, like friends, just kind of gave my name out, and that's kind of my first exposure to, offering a service and getting paid for it, and
Getting beat?
Yeah, no, I was actually pretty good. It worked out for a little while.
There wasn't
but-
anybody that still owes you money from back then?
No,
We can try to
absolutely
collect it
not.
here. We can put them on blast.
Yeah.
How long
Yeah.
did that last?
I don't even maybe a year or two, not very long.
A year
Yeah,
or
it was a moonlight kind of side gig. Yeah, but that's
How old were
basically
you when you were
I
doing
started.
that?
Maybe 19. Yeah, 20 maybe. Yeah.
cool.
Excellent.
Was this the time like you were kind of like going to school or just making some extra dough?
So yeah, actually no, it was around when I was 23. Not I was 23 because my son Christian was just born. So he is 20 right now. So this is about 20 years ago. But yeah, and I was doing just like whatever it took to. I was in college. I was working, construction, and I was doing that on the side. So whatever it took. That was the early, right before I went into what I'm doing now.
You're swinging a hammer? What were you doing?
I was definitely swinging a hammer, more swinging a shovel, digging holes, doing what laborers do, that kind of stuff. So, entry level, whatever it took, the bottom guy in the pole.
Is that what you went to school for, or wouldn't you actually, when I went to college, but I was in the restaurant business, I was like, wow, I really like the restaurant business. And then school
Yeah.
kind of like, maybe I don't, there's plenty of money to be made, there's always plenty of work. Did that kind of switch like your mindset and be like,
Yeah, it was. So I was going to school when I got to school, was going for AutoCAD, CAD certificate, or architecture, but I couldn't get into architecture school because my grades weren't good enough. So I basically was going to school for civil engineering and drafting, essentially. So I was doing that and then simultaneously just working. And I had a son, young, and that's kind of where all that kind of converged. And eventually I got an internship. My father, who was a guidance counselor at the high school, got me an internship, paid internship with an architect in New Bedford, and went with one in Boston. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door with, I would always kind of play with AutoCAD and designing software at home with friends. It was kind of like just fun. It had kind of just come out in like the 90s. It was out in the 80s, but it was kind of just this fun software we mess around with. But eventually I got hired with an architect, and I kind of converted that into learning about architecture and plans. So
Nice.
through an internship that was paid, and all the other people in my class were like, how did you get a paid internship? We got to do it for free. And so it was a great opportunity my father got for me through that network.
See, that's something that most people need to hear.
Yeah.
If you're starting a business of any sort, get involved with as many. I mean, I introduced Dave as a fellow member of a nonprofit. Ronnie's talked about his ventures in the nonprofit world.
I was in a nonprofit.
Yeah, you raise money for the American
Oh, yeah,
Heart
all right.
A lot. He
Association.
donates to the South Coast
Yeah,
Business
he's-
Alliance that we're
yeah,
part
he's
of.
one of our
Yeah.
donors.
Usually for profit.
But the guys that are doing this stuff, guess what? You're gonna meet a ton of people in networks that can get you opportunities.
Right.
Like your dad was involved in the community. It wasn't just that he
Right.
was a
Actually, it was a
guidance
student of his. So my dad was the only bilingual guidance counselor in New Bedford High School. So his student was from Portugal, who later became an architect.
Oh,
So he knew I was interested in that field. So he reached out to him and said, "Hey,
Help my
are
kid.
you an do you have an opportunity for my son?" And he opened the door for me.
Yeah, man.
How much of an honor is that?
it's a huge honor.
Yeah, your
you know,
dad,
it's kind of
gave
like,
that.
yeah, open the door for
Open
me.
the door.
And then that architect opened the door for me to work for a firm in Boston. And then my son came at that point and was like, I wasn't getting paid much and I really needed to turn it up and make more money. And I heard about building material sales. So that's where I got involved in selling building materials, and I learned the estimating game, which later I started moonlighting, drawing plans for contractors on the side, because I was learning how other architects were drawing their plans. And then that's how I started my business today on the side. So it was a moonlight business that
These guys
converted.
always jump ahead to the next question.
Yeah. So I'll stop there, but
Slow them down, guys.
Yeah.
Describe the very moment when you decided your current venture and you just kind of got into it, right?
yeah, so the guy definitely had a love for construction. So that's, but you know, back then in like the 90s, like the blue collar jobs weren't really pushed, right? So it's like my parents, Portuguese parents, just they don't want you to work hard like they worked hard in the factories or, you know, on the construction sites. They want you to go to college and get a squeaky clean job. And so that's my family, or my father really pushed me to that, and that's not who I was. So I, you know, the architecture was like an interest to me, but where I am today with construction, and it's really where I feel comfortable. But that's how it started, essentially, from the design, interest in design into architecture.
What was one of the most challenging moments in your entrepreneurial journey, and how'd you overcome it?
You're laughing at how he's
it.
got a
I
little
love
grin on his face when you say
Just know I got Bell's palsy, guy. And I just got a tick bite. I got Lyme disease.
Come on, guy, he's a mess.
You're ELA, bro. That's why you can't say it. Entrepreneurial.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? Sorry.
What was one of the most challenging moments in your entrepreneurial journey? Are you teaming up with them just to hear me say it?
I'm saying, I think you
Your
did that on
entrepreneurial
purpose.
journey.
Challenging
And how did you overcome it? Yeah.
moments. Ah, boy.
You say like, dude, maybe this ain't for me.
I mean, you
Yeah, I
still
think
quit.
it's when I really decided to go into the construction side. So I always had this fear that I was drawing plans for contractors, and that if I became a builder, that I would somehow step on their toes, and I wouldn't get that. I'd lose that part of the business. So I got to a point where I had no choice. I was not able to. At that point, I had 2 employees designing with me, and I was not able to leave my home office where this all started. I just wasn't making enough revenue, and these guys were getting older, they're starting families, I want to be able to pay them proper wages. So really I had to figure out a way to create more revenue for our business, and architecture and drawing residential home plans only go so far. So that's when I decided to really ramp up. You know, I was a licensed builder at the time. I'm gonna go into the construction side more. So I let those guys stay in the office, and then I just hit the ground and just started framing houses, started, you know, generating construction projects, because we're designing, so we have opportunities there in the office. Hey, can I give you a price to build your house? So really everything I've done, whether it was design, which started on the side, was identifying a need in the market. When I was working at the lumber yard, hey, this builder needs plans, I can draw your plans on the side. Same thing with construction. Hey, we designed your project, can I build this for you? Can I give you a price to build it? So that was my evolution, and I'm big on that, like evolve or die. You gotta keep evolving in your business, and that's what I did. Is I evolved. I said, you guys stay in the office, I'm gonna start running construction jobs. And
What year was that about?
maybe about 10 years ago, and then I really ramped it up. I saw it really was helped my business grow. I was able to move it out of the house into my current office now, which I've been there 2 years.
Was this like kind of like when we're coming up out of the crash?
After that,
Market tanked, and then things
Yeah.
started getting better, stabilizing.
I actually started the design business in the recession. So, and I was like, if I'm actually doing well now in this recession, then I know I'm going to be good after that. So, but that's how I evolved, and that was the challenge. Was that I had a lot of other challenges on my plate, and I could talk about that, but like I was not making enough money, so I had to take this gamble and go in this other direction. So besides that, I had, you know, other things happening in my life that, you know, expenses. I'm a father, you know, I'm paying child support, I have a mortgage, I have all these things. I'm the only person that's got to pay all these bills. I got employees, you know, it's very stressful.
Has there ever been a particular setback that made you give up or want to give up? You ever look back?
No,
at that
I
one
literally have
time
no
when-
choice. I have nothing to fall back on. This is all I know. This is all I know is that I'm good at, as far as that makes money. So there's no going back.
Burn the ships on the island, said we're taking this bitch over, and that's it.
That's it.
And
Yep.
you did it like a Viking. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't need to hear what he just said, right? I think everybody that walks around with a parachute never fully goes all in
Yeah.
on what they want, what they set out for, their goal. Like if you're already like, hey, this is my plan B, you're already effing up, right? I think you're already messing up. I think if you just go in and you say, I got no plan B.
Right.
Man. My plan A is to succeed. My
Right.
only plan is to succeed. Just like I said, like the little, going back to where I said, you burn the ships. It's an old adage where the Vikings and the Nords back in the day would go somewhere to conquer.
Yep.
Before they hit the beach, they'd set their ships on fire.
That's it.
They ain't no going back from that point on, unless they take that over and build themselves a new fleet, right?
That's gutsy,
So that's
right there.
That's kind of like what you're saying. And I think a lot of people need to understand that. I mean, everybody that's here doubts themselves at times, right? You've doubted yourself. I doubt myself. Shit, I just went through a rough period where I had to talk myself out of a hole in my
Right.
business, right? We constantly go through that. I mean, I quit all the time. But here I am, right? And you quit. Man, I don't know about this
There's
anymore.
no quitting. I had 2 young sons. I mean,
that's
I
it.
had 2 employees. I had a mortgage. I had child support to pay. I had all these responsibilities, and I had nobody to help me. My father had passed away already. That was it. It was me,
How long before all this did your dad pass away?
So it was 20 years ago. So I got my job at the lumberyard, and I was like in that struggle, and he got cancer. He passed away 3 months later, and that was that. It was
Right
like,
around, yeah.
I was like, my son would just turn one that summer, so he wasn't even 2, Christian. That was 19 years ago. So yeah, it was there at that point. And there's definitely time, I talk about it a lot, like, that's, I didn't have that person to reach out to, like to lean on, like I had my mom, but my mom had her struggles too.
Sure.
So for me, like I just had to figure it out,
Yeah, and a lot of people, they just don't want to. As soon as they get a little pushback in their life, they give up. Right? I'm gonna try going down the hard road.
Right.
And then as soon as I get a little pushback, I'm like, I'm gonna pussy out and I'm gonna check out and I'm gonna go back to the easy road. Or I'm gonna get a job. And then they never really meet their full potential. We see it a lot of times in real estate. Hey, I got my real estate license. I'm going to be rich the day after tomorrow. I'm going to get all these listings, work with all these buyers.
Yeah.
6 months in, like, hey, nothing's happening. What maybe wasn't meant for me. I'm just going to pick up more hours back in my job. Like, they never gave themselves a chance to get anywhere near their full potential.
Right. And maybe they don't really like it. That's, for me, that's my fuel, is that I actually really like what I do for a living. And that's my advice to people, is that make sure you do something you're passionate about. I get up every day, I'm excited. And that gets me through the challenges with clients that may not be, cooperating, or like just a business side, because every business is a business, but there's, if you're a musician, if you're an artist, you got to sell those paintings still. So, but they don't really care about that part. They want to do the paintings. So if you're passionate about it, you'll get through it.
Yeah. They don't believe in the scar tissue. Like when life throws you some curveballs or you run in a situation, like I've been through this before. I got the scar tissue to deal with it. I'm gonna grind through it again,
Right.
and we're gonna be okay. I've been through this before, or I know somebody that's gone through it, and I'm gonna pick up the phone,
Right.
call Chris, or call you, and be like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, man, I what am I missing here? The mental mindset's there, but I can rely on more good.
And a lot of people look up to you, but you still are humble enough. You'll call me, or you'll call other people. You're humble enough to know that you don't have all the answers. So,
yeah, and I don't want to distance myself from the people that have been on this journey with me, that same journey. Like, we could still laugh about like some of the shit like back in the day.
Yeah, right.
This guy yelling at me for putting in a foundation with no permits. And stuff like
No,
that.
me getting yelled at first,
Him getting yelled at
and
first.
him being stand up and taking the heat, and that's when I really knew he was what it's all about.
He's still putting up permit. He's still putting up foundations without permit stuff.
Probably.
Tell us a time when a failure turned into a valuable lesson, or even a later success.
It doesn't necessarily need to be a failure, Dave. Like, just something that really.
Well, you say, right,
really
you either win or you learn, right? You don't ever lose.
You never lose.
So I remember my first design job I ever had. It was on a moonlighting, right? Guy says to design an addition. And so I designed, I don't know, it was like 30 feet long. and he changed his mind. And so I changed the drawings, but then I forgot to change the foundation plan. So he calls me up and he's like, hey, I poured the foundation, it's the wrong size. I'm like, my heart dropped. That's the first, what I drew on paper had a result in the world, and it was a big mistake. And I'm like, is this guy gonna sue me? Is he gonna, like, what's gonna happen? And he was just basically like, hey, it's cool, I like it, it works, it's fine. And he'll just let it slide. And I'm like, and that just made me correct my process. And we're still making mistakes today, you know? And I'm still making, we underbid something, we got to take it on the chin, you know. And I'm going through the mistakes of my team. My team's certain members haven't been through certain aspects that I've already been through. But if I don't have the system in place, they're going to make that mistake, and essentially the company's going to pay for it. So we revisit mistakes if you don't put systems in place to kind of remedy that. But that's, yeah, that was one of my first big mistakes.
The guy right now is happy as hell because that extra square footage, his house value is like...
Yeah, good thing it didn't affect anything.
Yeah. What role has your family played in your journey? I know that one directly is someone I'm enamored by is your son, right? So not only is Christian, who's been named already, a part of Dave's team at the office. Christian's also an executive member at SCBA. We had our meeting this past week where we introduced all the older people that have passed already in SCBA, 17 years, so we got members that are no longer active, but my job is to try to bring them all back in. So we did that the other night at the Cultivate, a great event, and Dave, and we all introduced ourselves, and we had two members, Farland and Dave, whose children are e-board members on this alliance now, which is pretty freaking cool, right? So family, I know, is super important, and that's one of the reasons why I connect so much with Dave, having a younger child and watching him with children that are older. I aspire to have my son be the type of kid that his kids are, and I think a lot of it has to do with Dave and the way he fathered, and I know that, you know, the loss of your dad made you turn a gear. I know that you having to look out for your mom now made you turn a gear. Right. Being a young father made you turn a gear. And then getting nicked by, you know, things like child support and shit like that. Like, I know that made you. So what does the family play directly, or the sacrifices or the challenges based by your family that has really, you know, played a big role in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, right to my mom. You mentioned my mom, like she, you know, hard-nosed Portuguese from St. Michael. She always taught me to stand up for what's right, you know, no matter what, you know. And then my father, you know, actually, my mom and dad were founding members of the Immigrants Assistance Center in New Bedford. So they founded that organization, which still helps immigrants to this day from all countries. And he always taught me, my father, that you know, always work for the underdog, help out the underdog, help them up. That's always been big. And you know your culture and respect your culture, and everyone else's cultures too. So that's always been important. And just, you know, as far as, you know, obviously my sons are a big driving factor. I'm very proud of Christian. My son Logan, which you also know too, he's in the entrepreneurial space too. With
actually to call him.
Yeah, with the Christmas lights, you know.
I'm not going on a 30-foot ladder anymore, bro.
So and Christian and Logan are both following in my footsteps, unsolicited, essentially. Like, a lot of parents really have to push their kids, like, you should do this, you should do that. I've said nothing to them.
Yeah, but you've led by example, right? So that's something, like, you don't have to, like, I don't have to boast to Ronnie how my day's going, because he knows I'm busy, just the type of person I am. Like, we know each other. I don't go to Ronnie and be like, what'd you do today? Like, I know the dude's been going, I promise you.
He's been going.
You know what I'm saying? I know you're that type of dude. So, because why? Because we've already led, and you've already seen me go how I work. I've seen how you operate.
Right.
I've seen how he operates. Same thing with your
Lead
children.
by example, right?
Your children see how you operate. Your children see the way you treat your spouse, your mother. Your children watch the way you and your father interact, or in my case, I'm lucky enough. Your children see how you're on the phone with your clients. Your children see how you set boundaries for your clients and your family. All that stuff. Your children are watching. So just because you haven't necessarily spoken the words, you need to do that. Something that our parents didn't do to us. You and me came from that school of, you need a good job with good benefits, and it's got to be steady, and you always have to make sure that pay your bills. And
but you know what?
I'm going to go into a lot of debt. I'm going to create a lifestyle based on what I want. Totally against, like,
common sense.
When I quit the state, My father lost his mind.
There's a place for school. There's a place for all that. I'm a big proponent for going to school is great, but if you have a passion and you know where you want to go, do it. Chase after it right now. Christian, who we talk about, he should be in college, right? Like most kids his age, he's got a passion for real estate development and our family business. Both my sons want to work in the business unsolicited. They want to do it. They've both indicated that school's not for them. They want to go right into it.
And I can attest, Christian could go to any school in this country and do well.
And this is a kid that's class president 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
this is like a kid.
It's not like some kid that's like, he wasn't going to go to college anyway.
Yeah, he's skipping that step and getting right to it because he has a passion. So family, that's important. And number one, I did it my way, and it wasn't my parents' way. But now on the flip side, my father didn't get to see this. Maybe from above, he's watching and proud. But my mother's proud. She comes to the office. She sees the business we've built, and so she's proud, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, man.
I know you mentioned like they may have been some mentors in your life. Are there any other mentors in business that maybe have helped you scale?
Right.
Or stay on track, or maybe put you on to other things that help you grow your business?
So I have a list of mentors. This is something I've created, and you're on it, Ron, and there's other people on that list. And on that list is kind of like the ones that like don't necessarily like I wouldn't really hang out with them, but just something that they've done that I admire and I want to emulate and I want to learn about.
So you've literally written down a list of
I do have lists, of mentors, absolutely. And I make a point actually, and that's why Ron knows, I'll call them and be like, hey, you want to get lunch on Fridays? I try to meet with one mentor a week, as much from that list of people, so I can connect with them. They're not calling me. Actually, you called me, that's an honor that he's calling me now, on that level. So I've had that list of mentors, but my favorite mentors are like Ron, like my cousin David Silveira, which you also know, that are humble guys that started from ground zero, that didn't, inherit a trust fund, that didn't, they really grinded and really created that, system and wealth and the achievements they have now.
Small world. Dave's one of my favorite dudes. A lot. Like, he used to be a neighbor of mine. Like, I grew up knowing him. He's always treated me like good. Anything I need. I was on the phone with him 2 weeks ago, and just chatting. I'm like, hey, whatever you need. He's that guy, dude.
Right. If anyone knows Dave Souza, great guy.
Souza Electric, free plug right here, Dave. Wiping yourself down with some suntan lotion down in Naples, Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in the gym. We know he's in the gym right now.
Well, he's in the gym in Naples. He could be in the gym.
I did a pickleball. I was playing tennis with him for a while, and he's just a guy that just, dude, no matter what he's doing.
Right.
No matter what the hell he's doing, he's a savage.
Your office mate there, Albert.
Yeah, no.
Great, same thing. A lot of great, humble guys. I can be friends with them.
He's pissed about you staying on his planters, though, the other day.
Nah, I can get over it.
He's gonna go design.
I'm testing the integrity.
He's just trying to make you design and build new planters for him. He's trying to get them cheap.
I think you're on 8 yet. That's you.
Yeah. Any partnerships that have influenced your journey? Are you into partners?
I haven't had many partners, but one of the first partners I had was, I tried to get many partners. When I was getting involved in flipping homes, I didn't have much money. I had maybe $15,000 to work with, so I'm like, I need to get a partner. So I would source the deal. I would create these reports, like, we can buy the house for this price, we can renovate for this cost. And I would create these reports, and I'd have customers come in for the design and construction. I would say, hey, I got this house, we can buy it, I just need a partner. And I identified clientele of mine that I knew had some capital. And most people passed on it, but I will give the Arujo brothers, Joe and Emmanuel Arujo, credit, because they're the first ones that took me up on it. And yes, I did all the work for the most part, but they let me use their capital at no charge, as I created an opportunity to flip my first home. And I found the deal, permitted, designed it, built it.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. If you don't have the bread to do it, you got to partner up with the people who have the money.
Right, and I came out of that deal with a little bit more money, and then we did another one, and I found then they started bringing deals to the table. Then I got a bigger piece of the pie, and then it got to the point where I could fly on my own.
Yeah.
So
guys, the hardest part about this business is not about the money. It's finding the deal, bringing the value, right, and building your value up with somebody that you need what they have. Right.
And it's just not real estate. Like
This
I think
is
any
people- I
business.
think- I
Any
think-
business.
Yeah, I think people are just kind of focusing because we're talking flipping and your real estate ties. It's all business is relative.
Right.
That's why when you turn around, you might not have the passion for building, but I mean, you might have the passion for it, but you might not have the passion for something else.
Right.
And same with you with your. But the type of people you're going to see on this show, I'm convinced that have such confidence, such discipline, and understand that there's a process to everything. That they could start fresh tomorrow in a whole different sphere and be successful only
Right.
because of discipline, because they understand the mentorship need, because they understand that they got to give to get, they understand that they got to grind every day and every night and not take no for an answer, and they can take that from building and designing into a restaurant. I know you can run a
Speaking of mentors, right? Another thing too is like I'm offering my mentors, I'm buying you lunch. So like I'm giving them something. I'm never asking for anything.
heck no, yeah.
So many people come up, many people have come up to me, and I'm sure Ron and you guys can attest. Like hey, I want to shadow you. I want to learn from you. It's okay, but you can't just come empty-handed. You always have to offer something. I've even had, me and Ron are part of the Landlord Association of Greater New Bedford, and we have expiring, real estate entrepreneurs coming in, and they want to shadow and they want to learn. And I always say to them, listen, don't go to Ronnie and just ask to learn. Offer him something. Do you do videography on the side? Offer him to make him a video. Offer something that maybe you have a skill in, and I'll do this for free for you, but let me shadow you, because he can't mentor everybody.
No.
There's not enough time in the day.
He's got a team that he has to mentor
But if
every
someone's
day.
buying him lunch every Friday, or if someone's offering him a service, his ears are going to perk up. He's got to do that anyway.
You mentioned it earlier, Albert, right? Albert, I'm fortunate enough to be literally looking across the hall. We talk shit to each other all the time. I literally try to pick his brain every day. He knows it,
Right.
but we're friends, and it's not like I'm putting him out, right?
You're right there.
I'm right there. We're talking,
Conveniently
buying
positioned.
him coffee every chance I get, buying him lunch every chance I get. I sit down with him. He's always paying for everybody. I never let that man pay for me. I try not to.
Yep.
He has, because he does once in a while. But
Yeah, you're
I
there.
know the value that having somebody like that around in my life
Right.
pays.
But he's a
It
real
just
one. He
pays.
really accomplished something. So,
He's a good dude, man. He's just a
The
solid
money
guy.
is out there. The uber rich don't want to be swinging the hammer. They
No.
want you to bring them something that says, here, this is going to be profitable, and I will do the heavy lifting.
Right.
Right? That's what happened. When all the banks were closing their doors after the crash, I met him and he says, look, I think that there's going to be opportunities to invest in real estate. And I'm like, perfect. I'm your guy. Even at that level where I probably had 100 of my own properties, and I'm like, listen, this isn't where it's going to end, right? Where banks are closing his doors, he had the in and said, listen, I'll get the money. You get the properties, you get these places turned around.
Yep. And what I love
I'm gonna
about
get
that
you
is
going.
he's still doing it. And he
Still
doesn't
doing
have
it.
to.
20 years later.
So many
still
people
doing it.
that I know that are mentors on my list are still doing it because the passion's there. They actually love what they're doing. So I'll never stop. I always say I'm never going to retire. It's not about building this nest egg to retire. So I'm like, sorry, Christian, sorry, Logan. I'm going to be around. I'm going to be somewhere on a job site doing something, maybe a little bit less, but I love what I do and I don't want to retire. I don't want to stop.
That's how I feel.
How has social media and the digital world impacted your business?
It's
You're
been
doing some
great.
pretty cool videos
It's been
now.
great, yeah, and that's a push for me. Being on camera has never been a comfort zone for me, so I've been pushing myself to be better at that too.
You're a
So
natural. Stop it.
once I get going, maybe, but
People hate
it's tough,
social media because they're not using it to leverage their business.
right?
I hate social media. Social media
Oh, I
is
don't
jerks. People
hate
on
it.
there are jerks. You know what? Because you're not using it to leverage your business.
It's like money, right? You can use money to be more of a jerk, or you can donate, right? If you become successful and affluent. But as far as social media has been huge. Yeah, social media is huge. It's just the input of money. You just got to take the time to make posts, make a routine of it. And I don't care if you're a landscaper, I don't care whatever you do, utilize social media. It's huge. I put so much more effort into that, into video production now, and it's huge.
But it pays back, doesn't it?
Right. Or you can scroll and get distracted. It can be a huge distraction, or it can be a huge asset.
Well, that's
So
part
it's
of-
how you
that's
choose
part
to
of the-
use
that's
it.
part of discipline, right? That's
Right.
part
And
of
it also holds you to a higher standard because you want to do a good job. Last thing you want somebody to be like, you didn't do a good job.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? What's the future of South Coast and Associates, South Coast Investments in 5, 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying I want to grow. We've been between 12 to 15 employees, and I'm like, I don't want to have more than 10, and it's like, it's just growing organically. So I just want to keep building great projects. I mean, my whole angle is really about challenging projects as far as, yes, colonials, yes, raised ranches. We want to design inspirational buildings, build them, contemporary, anything that's challenging. We've had the opportunity and we've had some great projects, but I want more of those. I want to be known as the guy that you go to for, all right, that's a tricky project, call South Coast. They're going to take care of it from the beginning to the end. They're going to design it, they're going to, and they're going to permit it, they're going to build it. And that's really where I see it going. And we're already touching on that now. It's taking some time to get there, but that's where I see it going to continue to grow. We have a partner company called South Coast Investments where we have some apartment buildings. We do some development, some build and sell a couple homes a year. I want to continue to build that portfolio as a, like a legacy for my family, essentially. So for the next generation to keep building up, and similar to how the Carney family with their properties and their funds that they've set up, to give back to the community. I want to be able to not only create wealth, but also to continue to give back wealth, like the legacy fund we have with the South Coast Business Alliance, essentially set something up like that as well too, to give in perpetuity to my family, but also to the community.
That's amazing. Yeah. So that's the other part of these six. Every single person that we've had on so far does give back. Every single person. And I don't think that I can emphasize how important that is.
It's built into their business.
It's just built into the moral fabric.
The moral fabric, and
it's just your business is a reflection of who you are, right? Like I was about to say.
It's hard. Ronnie calls me with the violin playing in the background, asking for the golf check.
Well, you actually owe me $500 for the golf tournament. The money magnifies the person, right?
I say it all the time. Same
money,
thing.
if you're an asshole, when you get money, you're going to be 10 times the asshole.
Doesn't change you. It makes you more of what you already are.
It's just going to make you, it's just going to magnify who you are and where you stand in that moral compass of yours. Right? I don't think that it's just a part of their business. I think it's just a part of their being, right? But the fact of the matter is that involvement, charitable, it's biblical.
I hate hearing that. So many people, every single successful large business owner, right? Really anybody that's in a good place I've ever seen, they all donate. They all give back to the community. So I hate hearing negative feedback about them because it's like
that's
crazy.
The other part. Oh, because it's a tax write-off, right? That's the next thing they're going to say. It's a tax write-off. You can only write off so much of it. It's not dollar for dollar. I promise you that. Secondly, you gotta freaking make the money to donate the money.
Right.
You can't just I had a short month this month. Here's 10 grand for your cause. I get to write off 3,000 of it.
Right.
It's not. They gotta write it off anyway. Whoever's saying that, you don't know shit. You sound like a dummy. Stop saying.
Yeah. Right. And organizations like the South Coast Business Alliance,
I'm getting mad.
There you go. You guys made
my last episode was titled "Bag of Shit."
Bag of shit. Shut your mouth. You don't know why we donate. We donate because it comes from the heart, not because it's a tax write-off. Moving on before Chris gets angry. I keep telling PG-13.
I'm the mad rapper. Remember the mad rapper?
Oh my God!
I
do absolutely.
Did the COVID-19 pandemic affect your business operations? If so, how'd you adapt?
Yeah, so I definitely, when it first came around, at that point, I definitely had, our designers staying home, working from home. Luckily, we could do that on the computer, off the computers. The job sites, we still kept running them. We got worried at first because they shut down construction sites in Boston area. So once they passed the legislation, I guess, that we could stay open and running, that was good news. But we faced other challenges where didn't see it coming, where we had set contracts to build a home, and then the framing lumber prices went through the roof. So I definitely got caught with my pants down, essentially, and I lost a lot of money as a result. And there were some cases where I could have walked away from the job, but I would have looked bad, but I really had every right to. But I stuck through it. I lost money on those jobs, but the lesson from it was I created escalation clauses in my contracts, so I didn't have those. And a lot of builders created those essentially. So, if there's some sort of change in the market or some sort
inflation guards, escalation clauses.
essentially to protect us from those. So
Definitely started implementing those.
absolutely.
You have to. So
yeah.
that moves on to the next question. So we'll change that. Like, what do you believe will remain permanent since those changes? And that's one of them right there, right?
That's definitely one of them.
Definitely
right?
one of them. And the protocol and knowing that at any moment the government can just come in and shut us down. They proved that pretty simply. I don't know if they'll get away with it again like they did last time, but
I don't know. We just kind of let it slide. We're happy we're open again. And
I'm still pissed off.
I know you are, but
you and I talk about
collectively, our society has not really held anybody accountable for that. And I'm not going to get into the political things here, but I agree. I'm looking at restaurant owners and saying to myself, they're telling you you can't do this, you can't do that. You own a gym, nobody can go to your gym.
yeah.
I had that crossroads in my mind. Are they going to close construction sites down? And I told myself, I'm going to keep going. I don't care what happens. They're going to go after my license. I gotta pay the bills here.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't have to, thankfully.
Thankfully. I mean, but
They're minimizing how many contractors could be on that job at one point, I remember.
At first, right? Yeah, at first.
Nuts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and say it. There's not one person here that doesn't remember who the useful idiots were. If you were one of the proponents of staying home and you're being selfish and you were part of the real problem of giving the government the power that they had during that time period, trust me, we're all smiling at you, we're nice to you because we're decent human beings. But
letting it slide, but
we're letting it slide but deep down we look at you and we all look at you, I promise you. You know exactly who you are if you're listening. We think you're part of the problem, and we'll know, like you were one of those people rounding up Jews and supporting the Nazis back then. You would have been the same thing.
Essentially
the same exact thing, and it pisses me off when we talk about that.
It pisses me off when you're starting to hear rumblings and that, and then here come all the masks again.
Man, fuck all them things.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I swear to God, it's not going to be the nice. There's going to be people like me, and I was very vocal during that time period. And I had people coming up to me like, "You have a voice on social media. You should be more responsible." And I'm like, how do I say this nicely?
Just
you should be less of a gullible
further
asshole.
amplify the division we have in our country, unfortunately.
It sucked.
Chris, you're getting very bitter.
Because I don't want this shit to happen again. You know what I mean? A guy like Dave understands because we talk about this. Like, and like.
You might want to take that question out of there for next time.
Let's go. COVID-19 sucks. Describe a day in your life. There you go. I'm a very routine guy.
I'm not going to be like other people. Like I'm up at 4 a.m. I know this guy's up super early. I'm like a 7, 8 o'clock guy.
Nice.
But I work later though. That's I'm later into the day. I wake up. I'm big on the I forget what's the Miracle Morning. It's the Savers, SAVERS, the silence, exercise, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is writing. So when I get up, it's it's quiet. I'm writing, like I'm kind of mapping out my day. I'm a big list guy, like lists. So mapping out my day, and then affirmations. I don't really do that much, but the visualization, I definitely visualize my day, my goals, and I do a short exercise, just like jumping jacks, because I go to the gym later in the day. And then read. I don't like to read, but I like podcasts. I like ebooks I can listen to. Reading a book puts me to sleep, but listening to a book I love. This revolution with iBooks and podcasts have been amazing.
So
I feel like I'm like plugging in. I tell my girlfriend I feel like I'm plugging into the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like give me information about this topic or that topic. So yeah, that's my day is pretty much the morning, and then I'm on the job sites in the morning, just kind of supervising, seeing what's happening, and then I'm in the office in the afternoon with appointments in the office, and then right now my life is pretty much the gym after that, and that's it. I just work. I don't really watch TV. I don't really do anything else. Just work out, and family.
Maybe Diane, what are your habits and rituals that you believe have contributed to your success?
I'm like I said, the list thing. I feel the biggest failure in any business, like in my own employees or any people I talk to, it's like, hey, can you get this done for me or whatever it is? And it's like, I don't see them writing it down. I'm like, the likelihood of it not getting done is like 90%. Wow, look at that.
Lists, notebook.
All the time.
I'm like, I got people make fun of me. I walk around with these lists. It's just like constantly.
That's amazing.
All I do is just lists every day,
I've seen you pull those out at that point.
Yeah, I have, yeah. Christian Fowles made fun of me. He's like, you don't put it in your phone? I'm like, nope, because it gets done. It's my system.
A lot of people don't understand
Yeah.
the power of the pen, right? So when you write things down, it becomes real. Like, and you know, I do in my practice, I do an exercise for my clients. I make them for a month literally write down every single dollar they spend. So every time you buy a coffee,
Write it down.
how much it costs.
Right.
And if you do that because you physically wrote it, now I don't want to see the report from your Bank of America statement.
Right.
I want to see you write it down. It does two things at that point. So
It's out of your head. Your mind's for creating ideas, not for containing them. So, you know, like that, the lists, the gym has always been a big part of my life. Like that's like the balance. And I don't know, people say like you should have like a job, you know, a passion that makes you money, one that doesn't make you money. So music's been one, motorcycles, motocross, you know, exercise, just, you know, something that doesn't have to quantify anything. Just it's fun. Just you can just zone out and have a good time. So riding is definitely important for me. And then obviously time with my family. Divide your day up, you know, make sure you get some rest, get some good sleep. Sleep hygiene is huge.
oh yeah, more studies every day coming out about that.
What's one piece of technology or software that's essential to your daily grind?
We've kind of been gravitating, we've been on a cloud-based software. So we use a product called Monday.com, which is basically a cloud-based spreadsheet, but we can customize it to our business. So we literally run the whole business from it. It's almost like Facebook. You can at people in it.
Everybody on the team
Everyone on the
is
team.
on
it.
You can create teams. You can upload like
I use Asana,
files.
which is Monday's
Similar. Okay.
counterpart, right? So
It's been huge for us. It's just I got
everybody
everyone on the same page.
tasks.
Dude,
Right.
it sets up reminders, like if
You can automate
he has a
emails
task,
going
yeah,
out.
if he's got a task, so once his task is complete, you can set it up where the next person gets an email. David's completed
Yes.
his task.
Pass the baton.
So it's
Exactly.
like, it just goes right down the line.
You can make it a CRM, which I know is big in the
It'd
real
be
estate world.
wonderful in your business in terms of picking up the lead, calling it up, then moving on to the next part, getting going to your mortgage guy.
And this is a
back,
cheat
the
code for
inspection,
people out there. I've even heard people on Facebook, because Facebook's free essentially. You can create a private group on Facebook, and you can invite your team essentially to it, and you can use that Facebook group to post things and talk about the job or the project you're working on.
Yeah.
So that's a cheap way to do it. I've
that
seen
is a
people
cheat code
doing it
right there.
Yeah.
That you can use. Everybody's on Facebook anyway. Just
Yeah,
old
you're on it
people.
anyway, so
just
might
old
as-
people. I'm going to move on and say, hey, the work-life balance, you've kind of already gone through that, right? But during intense periods, like those really pressing times where you got 2 or 3 projects that are up against each other, do you always make sure that you're just like, hey, this is a non-negotiable? Like, I need the gym. I need my Friday with my mentors. I need my time with my family. Where it'll get done. I'll figure out a way to get done. But do you always maintain the non-negotiables and that balance in your life? Yeah,
I heard years back, divide your day in 3. Kind of work, your family, and sleep. So I hold true to that. I don't make appointments after 5 p.m. I don't make appointments on the weekends. Obviously, if someone's roof is caving in, it's an emergency. But honestly, literally almost everything can wait. And I draw a hard line with that. And if any of my clients don't respect that, I don't want them as a client. Because if someone told me the same, say, hey, I want to be at my kid's soccer game or baseball game this Saturday, I can't meet with you. And if that's a problem, then I don't want you.
I'm not your guy.
I'm not your guy, sorry.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Can you share an anecdote where your faith helped you through a challenging business situation?
Yeah, honestly, like I'm not big on faith. It's essentially like I'm a spiritual guy. There's got to be a higher power out there. Because there was moments in my business where I'm like, I don't know how this is going along. How my phone keeps ringing. This is working, and I'm like, there's got in some instances when I wasn't putting my full effort in, and I'm like, there's got to be some other force working here. So I remember thinking about it in moments like that. But and you can look at it like God is within you. It's not necessarily some outer force. God is within you, and you find that inner God, and you can find that energy and that motivation to get something
So
done.
this is my question, but I put whether religious or personal belief.
Right.
Right. So it's not. I don't.
Right.
I don't. I'll have to answer this someday because in what I believe, we're supposed to preach, right? And I don't. But I don't care what you believe in. like there's something else beside us here.
It's a mystery. Great mystery.
So you can figure it out on your own. I'm friends with Hindus, business partners with a Hindu. We have mutual clients who are Muslims,
Right.
and we all get along just fine. But there's something else that you got to figure out what it is, whether it's religion or the personal belief, like you say, right?
Yeah, don't waste your talent, and then that's my big. I would tell anybody, passion. Have a passion for what you do. Really like it. Don't just do something for money. I've told my sons the same advice. Like, yeah, this is a business. We make money, but it's gonna get difficult. And if you don't really like this, you're gonna want to bail.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to run away. Like, make sure you like it. Like, you really have a passion for it. Yeah. So
is there a? You brought it up, right? So. Let's hear it. What's one or two of your books or podcasts that's like, hey, I got to listen to this?
Yeah, a big one I listen to is The Modern Craftsman, which is basically, it's a builder out of Boston area. He does high-end homes, but he's created this podcast where he interviews other successful builders. So that's a trade podcast I listen to, specifically my business. I listen to like relationship type, as far as to improve my relationships with my family, my girlfriend, my, people around me. I listen to some sales podcasts too, specifically for construction industry. I listen to some motorcycle podcasts about what's going on in the scene. So I listen to some fun stuff and I listen to some, serious things.
Excellent.
How do you handle competition, especially from larger, more established businesses?
I try to, I try to, create an alliance, where, we don't have a builders organization in the area, but I try to create that alliance. Like, hey, I'm here. Like, if you don't have the staff on hand, I'll help you out, vice versa, just try to create that. Like, again, there's enough out here for everybody. If you want to compete with me, it's fine, but I don't look at it. We have competition because we're a very unique business, and I've set it up that way. We're like one of the only design build companies in Bristol County that truly is a design build, so I feel like I'm separating myself, so that's kind of how I handle the competition part. But I try to, even though we're different, I try to just make an alliance with everybody. Yeah,
that's a good way to go. I believe that there's enough market share there for everybody. Nobody is dominating any market. Like nobody in that area is dominating, getting 75% of the business. Like even Remax, as big as we are, we only got like 2 to 3% market share. So how much does that tell you? How many more houses out there to buy and be sold?
Right.
There's plenty of money out there for everybody.
I actually work alongside the other advisors, right? Jay's throwing me stuff. I've thrown him clients. There's a space where we can all help each other, and I like the way you put it, right? Is, hey, if there's nothing I can do to help you, let me know. And it doesn't become I'm trying to take from you, or
right.
It's just legitimately there's times that we're going to need each other.
And almost a high road too, because I've heard of some other builders in the area like badmouth us because I know it's jealousy, and I'm just like, and I'm still like, hey, no problem, like like if you need anything, you let me know.
Kill them with kindness.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of like just being a dick, but I like it. I like it. Is there a time where you have had to make an ethical decision that kind of really was like, shit, this is tough? And actually there was the whole COVID thing, right? Do I take it on the chin with these prices, or do I just keep my name?
That's a huge one, because I mean,
could have gotten away with
those
it,
mistakes.
So
They're not even mistakes. They were just like, just shook out that way. But yeah, I could have been like, and I even had the conversations with the clients. I'm like, and they were like, no, we know that you can go, and like, there's really nothing we can say. And I'm like, and I think that goes a long way. So I could have bailed on them. And
it's funny how these questions work themselves out, huh?
Yeah, sometimes they interlock, but ethically we have that decision. As a builder, I could cut corners all the time. I could cut corners in my business, but I don't. And we always take the harder road. And it's the path, the righteous path is a narrow one, right? So that's
everybody chooses the wide one.
Yeah.
We got time for one more question each.
Okay. Well, actually, let's just would that be the advice you give to somebody just starting out on the entrepreneurial journey? That
my main point is be passionate about it, but at this point on the other side, I say when you feel that friction, those hurdles in front of you, that's the sign you're going in the right direction. I can't say that enough. You are going in the right direction. The blood, the sweat, the tears, all that stuff.
grind.
The no's, the denieds, no launching. That's
No
been
launching.
that's a sign you're going in the right direction. And I was having this conversation this morning with Walter Faria. Like all the guys that are making moves, like Ron, like Albert, all those guys, I've been alongside those guys for years. There's a lot of people supporting their businesses, writing insurance policies, whatever it is that support their business, but those guys are the ones that are taking that gamble. They are the ones that face the most adversity, but they're the ones that are going to come out in the end, and that's a sign they're going in the right direction.
Well, that's part of
his
what-
day. He must have, and I know I have hurdles every day. Yeah. Every day, somebody didn't call me back. This person didn't do what they were supposed to do. This got denied. It's every day.
Yeah,
It's you got to get comfortable in that space.
When we first announced this show, one of Ronnie's main things was like, "Why do you do what you do?" And he said, "I truly enjoy," and you just brought this up, that everybody ends up eating off my table.
Yeah.
So it's his risk, yes. But think about how many people around get to eat off that table.
Right. We employed, I said like 12 to 15 employees, and but those those job sites have hundreds of subcontractors.
Yeah, man.
I know the same thing on your job sites. Same thing. You're employing all these people.
Yeah.
Dumpster
It's nice.
guys, landscapers,
Porta
people at
John.
Home Depot.
Everybody, seriously, it just keeps going.
The building department.
Paying all the permitting fees. Yeah, we support
The
them.
building department.
We should make an episode about that one alone.
That's called a bag of shit. We already did that last episode. Is there your impact, right? And I know this is something, and we'll tie this in with charity as well. So I'm going to do Y and Z together. So here's the two questions, and they kind of go well together. In terms of your business impact, how do you measure success beyond profit? And then, is there a particular community or charity initiative that your business supports or is involved in? Right?
Yeah. So the impact is when people I've heard it. I've started to hear it more over the years. Like oh, I gave your name out because you do like great homes. I gave your name out because you do like custom thing. That's where I want to be. So I know I'm essentially conditioning the public of what we're doing. So I know it's happening.
That's awesome.
That's not financial. That's a direct referral. And then as far as I'm going to say the South Coast Business Alliance because of our involvement, because I'm there. We're not getting paychecks. We're not getting. There's no like staff fee. We're all the money we pay. We actually pay to be in that organization, and all the money that comes in. Besides, paying the tent company, the entertainment company,
a little more this year because Dave put a hole in the tent.
That's happened to cultivator.
True. But we really don't take. It's a commitment, and I've been committed to it for a decade, and beyond that actually. And one event, it's a lot of work, but we've raised over $1 million for local charities, and. Yeah, people call me, and sometimes I don't donate to everything. I try to, but I know in the back of my mind, our work and our small group has got such a huge impact because we've scaled it and built a brand that repeats every year. Plus the Legacy Fund, which is a fund we set up. Credit to Christian Farland for the idea, where we've put money to essentially it's a mutual fund, right? That it creates a profit every year, and we can donate if the group goes away. For perpetuity, the Legacy Fund will continue to donate to the community. So South Coast Business Alliance is my primary situation with that.
Excellent.
Great organization. Well, episode 6, we didn't get canceled. We made it through. Great spending some time with you. I totally
Always.
appreciate you taking time out of your super busy day.
I'm honored.
Behind the grind. And we hope to have you back.
Absolutely.
Again, maybe in the new year, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, building department
No,
episode.
we can't. We already did that.
Building the
My
department
idea
episode.
is eventually to literally get a roundtable event where we mic up 6 or 7 of our guests and kind of just discuss this past year in business. And people from all different industries, just have Ron and I just kind of moderate it a little bit and just have literally a real conversation. I think most people will get so much out of that and
Right.
see so much that they never that's a real peak behind.
Yeah, when I
That's
go
those
around, and
lunches
I go to one job site or I go to lunch, I'm hearing different commonalities about maybe interest rates or maybe a slowdown in construction and different, so have them all at one table.
I
Be
think
great.
it'd be a great event.
Yeah, we've had some super quality guest today, Mr. Dave Silveira,
Thank
South
you.
Coast and Associates. Dave, tell everyone how they get in touch with you if they're looking for.
So on Instagram,
services.
we are Design, Build, Succeed. On Facebook, South Coast and Associates. And we're based out of Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Our website is sca-inc.net. You can check out our portfolio on there. And thanks again for the opportunity, guys. I appreciate it.
You should see the gem this guy just built in Fairhaven.
Is it your house?
Hell no, the guy spent more money on damn granite for his outside than I'll ever spend on a house.
Oh boy, that one's special.
Behind the Grind, interviewing local successful people, bringing you guys some information to help possibly shorten your journey on the way to the success story. Catch us back here in a couple of weeks. Every Saturday, we launch a new episode. If you want to come on the show, please message us. If you want to be a sponsor of our show, please reach out to us.
Yeah, the sponsorships are available, and like I said in the past, if not, I'm going to start throwing my stuff.
You got room for logos behind your big logo there?
This whole back screen, the sponsor is going to take over the brick, and will always be constantly displayed, along with plugs. And here's the thing, we're helping people, so be behind a project that's actually helping people. I truly believe, you spoke of passion, that this project will help people in our community learn and scale quicker than they normally
And if
would.
people are paying attention, they should be making a list of every episode of their new mentors they should be reaching out to.
Bust out the pad. Put it on the screen, bro. The pad.
Oh, the pad. Oh, you want to see the pad?
The pad.
Oh, yeah.
Check out the pad.
Look at the pad. He's not just, dude, there's just a list. It just keeps
Just
going.
a list every day.
Every
Successful
day.
people have a list. Like
Old
and
school.
share.
Can't see that one.
Like and share our show. Pass it on. Hopefully you guys get some valuable information from there. A lot of successful people in our area sharing their story, their hardships, their struggles, and how they made it to the top of the industry. So tune in next time. Hope to see you guys in a couple of weeks. Every Saturday, we're on here. Behind the Grind.
Thank you. God bless.